I'm sure each and every one of you sitting here today has woken up and had one of those amazing days. You know what I'm talking about. Those days where you get a really good test mark back, or you and your team win a game in overtime, or you just feel amazing about something you did for a friend. Those days truly make you appreciate being here, being alive. But those days may only come around once in a while. Other times, it feels that time could not go by more slowly, and everything seems to be going in a downward spiral with no hope of ever getting better. Those days where you just feel like living in your sweatpants and sleeping for hours and complaining to your best friend about how things could not possibly get any worse. And then somehow, miraculously, it does. But unfortunately, those downward spiral days may seem to roll around in life a little more often. And what makes it worse is that it is human nature to dwell on the bad and to just gloss over the good. But you don't have to. It might not seem that way right now, but trust me, it will. Now, I won't begin to claim that I have the secret to happiness, nor would I suggest to any of you that I have the solution to all of your problems. But I'm 17 years old, which means I've been alive for approximately 6,205 days and counting. And I can tell you for certain that not all of those days have been the days where you can't stop smiling, but I'm definitely not on a downward spiral. As a result, I've been able to find a few strategies to make those dark days seem a little bit brighter. So in the next few minutes, I thought I might share with you my approach to being happy, because I really do try to make an effort to be just that, happy. This past summer, I spent 2 months in Sedgwick, Ontario, which is about 3.5 hours north of here. I spent my summer working at Glen Bernard Summer Camp, a camp for girls ages 3 to 16. For those who know me well, you'll know I love little kids. So naturally, I primarily worked with the little ones. They're great. They're always full of energy, they go to bed early, and they love you like their own mother for 2 whole weeks. But the cuteness only lasts so long. They're also extremely picky eaters, they have no concept of time, and they cry a lot. I love them, but they have their downsides as well. I was constantly applying sunscreen, hanging up wet bathing suits, and carrying any trailing articles of clothing that they had left behind. Basically, 24-hour care, 7 days a week. Needless to say that there were nights I went to bed feeling utterly exhausted. The last thing I thought I could face was waking up to another day to more of the same. I found that I was always counting down the hours to my next break or day off. But I soon discovered that as exhausted as I was, and at times frustrated, I decided that I didn't want to look back on this experience as a summer of misery. This was a job, and I realized that as unfortunate as it may be, I wasn't going to love everything about it. But then I made a choice. I decided to like it. A flick of a switch, as simple as that. I decided to take each day as it came with little thought as to what would happen next. With time, I discovered that these kids actually do and say the funniest things, and I uncovered wells of patience that I didn't even know I possessed. Soon this summer job felt less and less like a job, and more just fun. Make no mistake, there were still mornings that I woke up feeling tired and frustrated. That's when it's hardest to consciously make that choice. But when you do choose to alter your perspective on the current situation, it helps by a significant margin. And when you do choose to focus on the positive outcomes of your day, you're happier. Thanks to my decision, my summer was the best one yet. Now let's consider the version of me standing in front of you right now. This version wakes up every morning and tries to make a conscious decision to look at the world through a positive lens and radiate positive attitude, or as I like to say, positude. In a more cliche manner of speaking, I choose to live by the glass half full analogy. Sometimes though, despite my best efforts, my glass will remain half empty. Needless to say that those are my bad days. But I still feel good for trying, and that's what gets me through those tough times. The way I see it, there are 3 possible states of being. There are glass half full people. Those are people who are always smiling, bubbly, and make you want to be around them. There are glass half empty. Those people point out all of the bad things that life has dealt their way, and who make you question your own outlook. Generally, we tend to fluctuate between the 2. But then there are those people whose glasses are just bone dry all the time. We all have one of those people in our lives. That person who's always sour and who thinks nothing good will come their way. Those people are energy drainers. They take your positivity away from you without you even noticing that they have done so. But as I reflected more on how we live our lives at Appleby, it dawned on me that we are facing a positive crisis, a phenomenon that I believe has infected each and every one of us here today. But fear not, there may be a cure. Being students and faculty at Appleby College, we are all too often focused on the next hurdle that is placed in front of us. So much so that we rarely look back on all that we've accomplished. We live in a society that has trained us to think this way. To think, I'll be happy once I finish this math test. Or, I'll be happy once my team wins X amount of games. Or even, all I have to do is make it to the long weekend and I'll be happy. We say this to ourselves over and over again. The reality is that you'll likely never really be happy if you're only looking forward towards the next accomplishment. Being happy can't be measured in this way. It's far more likely that you won't find lasting happiness once that math test is over, because all you're going to do is look for the next hurdle lying around the corner. This principle is outlined in Sean Acker's The Happiness Advantage. The book explores this state of mentality and goes even further by delving into research and studies, proving the philosophy that happiness can fuel success. So instead of constantly looking forward to the days in front of us and determining happiness based on results and outcomes, I try to live by a different philosophy. Live every day like it's your best day ever. It sounds really weird, I know, so bear with me. One of my absolute favorite films of all time is called About Time. It stars Rachel McAdams and Domhnall Gleeson. It's a romantic comedy. I know, oh so typical of me, but its message hit quite close to home, and I hope it does the same for you. For those of you who haven't had the chance to see it, I won't reveal any spoilers, so that you can enjoy it just as much as I did. Instead, I'll provide you with some context. Essentially, it follows the life of a young red-haired, awkward British man named Tim, who has the remarkable capability to travel back through time. He lives through all of the ups and downs of adult life and then gets to go back and relive his good days. His father then shares his own secret formula to happiness. Try to live every day as if you've deliberately traveled back to this day. Try and live every day as if you've deliberately traveled back to this day. Now I know that you're sitting there thinking something along the lines of, Cate, I'm not an awkward red-haired British man. My name isn't Tim, and I can't travel through time. And I think maybe the most popular one, where could she possibly be going with this? All valid, but here's what I want you to remember. Try and live every day as if you've deliberately traveled back to this day. Now we can alter this phrase to fit our lives at Appleby. Live every day like it's your best day ever. It seems simple, and yet sometimes it will be impossible. And all you have to do on those days is know that you tried. You gave the best you that you could, and that is enough. Maybe not everything turned out perfect, but the intention was definitely there. Those are the days that you need to be proud of yourself, and you need to know that your friends, your family, and the Appleby community are proud of you. I'm proud of you. Try to put your best you out there every day of every week, and I promise being happy won't seem remotely as difficult as you thought it to be. And as a result of that, is those days where it seems like everything is spinning in a downward spiral with no hope of ever getting better, might just roll around a lot less often. So the ball is in your court now. I challenge you to try and make the conscious decision and to try and measure your happiness in the moment. Live every day like it's your best day ever, and please rise and sing hymn number 505.